I straightened a camshaft for Just Mopar Joe the other day, and after I got done, I thought, golly, that would have made a good video. I should have done that. So, why don't we just find another bent cam and that'll give us some good footage, you know what I mean? Because a lot of people have this problem. All you need to do it really is a magnetic base style indicator, and you should have one of those anyway. You need a set of these V-blocks. These aren't expensive. I think less than $40 on Amazon, I think. And because the Mopar front journal is bigger diameter than the back journal, I have a piece of 3/16 plate underneath this V-block to keep the camshaft level. This particular one seems to be bent about 6.5 thousandths. So why don't we see if we can set up to fix this. To straighten the camshaft, there are several different ways to do this. Some people use an arbor press and just like straightening a normal press, a normal shaft, and press it and straighten it out that way. And then some people use a hammer and chisel, which is a little, I don't know, seems kind of Neanderthal to me, but that works. And what I'm going to use is a air chisel, and all I did was grind it flat on the front, and then I ground a little bit of a radius here just to keep from being so hard on it. Other people do it with it flat. I guess either way works. I just put a little thing on there. But so it's not going to take much as far as equipment goes to do this. Let's go ahead and measure. You kind of want to know where it's bent. So let's also measure it over on these two journals and see if we've got something similar. Looks like 5 thousandths there. Okay. And nearly 5 there. So let's get set up. I think when you're pressing it straight, you're pressing down, you bring it to the high, and you press it down. But, and I know this is hard for you and me to believe because we don't understand, but when you use a chisel, you do it on the low side and try to relax the low side and make it come back up into straight. I know that sounds weird, but I don't know anything about it. I'm just telling you what you're supposed to do. But anyway, I know it sounds kinky, but we're going to chisel on the low side, try to relieve the pressure, and let the camshaft flex back straight. Let me get all this set up. First thing I got to do is find the low. So when this goes up and that number goes that way, that's going to be the high. And when it comes down, that's going to be the low. So we're going to chisel on the low side We're going to give it a little bit here, a little bit here, and a little bit here, and see if we can make this thing straight. Okay, so we're going to give it a shot on each side of this journal. Then we're going to turn it to the low here. Shot on each side of this journal. Going to turn it to the low here. And a shot on each side of this journal. And see where we're at. That hissing you might hear, or you might not hear, is low quality air coupling fittings. Don't buy that. Buy Milton brand, and you won't have to listen to that all day long. We're just going to give it a shot. Nothing big here. I try to hold this to keep it from jumping off and getting on that lobe. Now let's come down here. Find our low. Looks like we were on it. Now let's come to the middle. Now let's check our work. That looks like the low. So we went from 6.5 down to 4. Okay. Looks like it needs a little more love. You know, I think I should have given it a shot here to go over a lobe. Let's see what that gives us. Okay, 3. We're down to 3. We're from 6.5 to 3. So let's keep working on it. Let's try, let's see how this lobe is now. I think we were at 5, weren't we, on this one? Now we're at, it's a little under 0 there, and a little over 1 there. So we're almost 2 out here. So let's give that a little attention. Let's go here, and then here and here. Easy on the equipment. Assuming we're still at the low. That's over 1 there. And back to over 0 there. That didn't really help much, did it? Let's keep working. About 1.5 below 0 there, and about, oops, got too far out of whack here. Looks like we're about 2.5 here. I think this one started at 5, didn't it? There's 1.5 plus, and there's around a half minus. So we're still 2 out here. So let's give that a little shot. I am at the low, aren't I? Better safe than sorry. Let's go check it again. Dementia, it gets us all sooner or later. I don't think I was at the low. Now we're at the low. Okay, so let's do the same way. Let's go out here and then into here. Now let's come in here and see if we're any better. What was that little jump there? Did I hit something? Get some trash on here? Well, that's about 1.5 under and a half over. So now we're at 2. What were we down to a minute ago? It was worse than that. So let's give this a little love. I think we're getting closer. Was I at the low? If you forget, just go back again. See, I wasn't at the low. Old people, you know how they are. That's the low. Now, let's try this. Okay. We're getting better. I thought. I think the cam is walking a little bit. Let me... Okay, let's do this again. Huh. I'm getting a little click out of that one for some reason. Let me... That's -1, a little more than -1. And that's 0. So, we're a hair over 1. We want to be under 1. Come on, we can do better than that. Let's go to the low. Let's give it a shot. It sounds like this is going to run long, so I'm sorry if I'm boring you to death, but we've got to do what we've got to do. Well, this is looking kind of, well, we're still out about a thou. Let's go to 0. Or close to 0 anyway. That indicator seems to be jumping a little bit to me, which it shouldn't. It's not like we're using the cheap stuff. Okay, that one's showing thou out. And what's this one doing? Wow. That one's getting pretty tight, folks. Okay, let's go to the middle. We're still a thou out. Let's hit the middle again and see how it's looking. Now that we're getting pretty close. Okay, I changed displays, so this one's a little easier to work with because it's so easy to zero when you go from journal to journal. But let's look at this one. The display's flashing. Does that mean my battery's getting low? Okay, there's a half a thou out. All right, half a thou on that one. Yeah, that makes it a lot easier to zero. Okay, let's see what we got on this one. Half a thou out, thou out, half a thou, back to zero. Half a thou out, one thou out. Well, that says thou and a half. One thou, back to half a thou. Okay, it didn't go all the way back to zero. So let's do this again. Because I don't think it's over one thou out. Half a thou out, back to zero. Half a thou, half a thou, back to zero. So, I mean, you could work on this and get it even tighter, but you're getting the gist of how to do this. So we took a cam that was 6.5 out, and we've got it down to a thou or less. But you see where we're going with this. We can't do this forever. The video gets too long, you know what I mean? But we did a pretty good job.